A vast and silent heist is unfolding off the coast of Ghana. It doesn't involve masked men or getaway cars. Instead, it involves massive steel-hulled ships dragging immense nets across the seafloor. These are industrial trawlers, the giants of the sea. They are emptying Ghana's waters of its fish, a vital source of protein and income for millions. While they fly the Ghanaian flag, a deeper look reveals a different story. The true beneficiaries are often thousands of miles away, in China. These foreign-owned operations are pulling in staggering profits, while the local communities who depend on the ocean are left with dwindling catches and growing desperation. This is a story of economic exploitation on a global scale, happening just out of sight, beneath the waves. The scale of this operation is breathtaking and deeply concerning. Ghana's marine ecosystem, once teeming with life, is now teetering on the brink of collapse. The fish stocks that have sustained generations are disappearing at an alarming rate. Sardinella, a small pelagic fish that is a staple food for most Ghanaians, is particularly threatened. The industrial trawlers are the primary culprits. Their methods are ruthlessly efficient, scooping up everything in their path, leaving behind an underwater desert where a vibrant habitat once thrived. The ocean's silence is not one of peace, but of absence. This is more than just an environmental crisis. It is an economic and social catastrophe in the making. Ghanaian law is clear. Industrial trawling is a sector reserved exclusively for Ghanaian-owned companies. However, a 2018 investigation by the Environmental Justice Foundation exposed a pervasive system of front companies. On paper, these fishing companies are Ghanaian, but in practice, the true beneficial owners are Chinese corporations. These foreign entities provide the capital for the vessels, cover the operational costs, and, most importantly, reap the vast majority of the profits. This arrangement makes a mockery of Ghana's laws, creating a smokescreen that allows foreign exploitation to continue unchecked. These operations are not just legally dubious, they are often environmentally destructive. A significant portion of the trawler's catch is made up of juvenile fish and non-target species, collectively known as bycatch. Instead of being discarded as required by law, this bycatch is often transferred at sea to specially adapted local canoes in a practice known as saiko. The saiko fish, often frozen in large blocks, is sold back into Ghanaian markets, directly competing with the catches of artisanal fishermen and depressing prices. It is a cynical and destructive cycle where illegally caught fish undermines the very people the law is meant to protect. The evidence of these illegal practices is well documented. News reports from Ghanaian outlets like Joy News and the Ghana News Agency have repeatedly featured footage and eyewitness accounts of saiko. Undercover investigations have captured the entire illicit process on camera, from the transfer of fish at sea to its landing and sale on shore. Despite the clear illegality, the practice persists, suggesting a breakdown in enforcement and potential corruption. The trawlers operate with a sense of impunity, turning vast stretches of Ghana's exclusive economic zone into a lawless frontier where profit is the only rule that matters. For the artisanal fishermen of Ghana, the horizon is no longer a symbol of promise, but one of plunder. They set out each day in their traditional wooden canoes, powered by sweat and hope, only to find the waters increasingly barren. They have witnessed the invasion of industrial trawlers firsthand, massive ships on the horizon, sometimes encroaching into the inshore exclusion zone, an area reserved for small-scale fishers. The trawlers' powerful nets scrape the seabed clean, destroying coral reefs and marine habitats that are fish breeding grounds. The roar of a trawler's engine is now the sound of livelihoods being destroyed. The economic impact is devastating. A fisherman who once could fill his canoe in a day now struggles to cover fuel and food for his crew. Incomes have plummeted, pushing families deeper into poverty. Many take on debt just to keep fishing, hoping for a miraculous catch that rarely comes. Young men who would follow their fathers to sea are leaving for work elsewhere, breaking generations of knowledge and tradition. The fishing canoe, once a symbol of prosperity, is becoming a symbol of struggle. Nana Kojo Pra of Accra has spoken of the desperation. He remembers when the sea was generous, when a few hours would yield a bounty. Now his men fish for days and return with next to nothing. Nets torn and destroyed by passing trawlers add insult to injury. Fishermen watch their ancestral heritage stolen by foreign vessels under the guise of local ownership. This social fabric is unraveling, leading to unemployment, food insecurity, and social unrest. According to research by the Environmental Justice Foundation, an estimated 90% of Ghana's industrial fishing fleet is linked to Chinese ownership. These vessels are responsible for catching immense quantities of fish. In 2017 alone, the illegal and unreported Saiko trade was estimated to have landed approximately 100,000 tons of fish. This catch, valued at over $50 million at the landing site, represents a massive loss to the Ghanaian state in tax revenue, and an even greater loss to the marine ecosystem from which it was stolen. The financial architecture of this trade is designed for maximum foreign profit. Trawlers generate hundreds of millions in revenue each year, yet only a tiny fraction of this wealth remains in Ghana. The EJF estimates Chinese corporations profit tens of millions annually from Ghanaian operations. These profits are generated by paying low licensing fees through Ghanaian front companies, then repatriating the vast earnings from the sale of the fish, which is often exported directly or sold through the illegal Saiko trade. So Ghana is essentially subsidizing the destruction of its own natural resources for foreign enrichment. The ecological cost is even more alarming. Ghana's sardinella stocks, a fish critical for national food security, are on the verge of total collapse. Scientists have warned that the population has crashed by over 80% in the last 2 decades. Industrial trawlers are the primary cause. Their non-selective gear catches vast quantities of these small pelagic fish, often before they have had a chance to reproduce. This level of extraction is unsustainable, pushing the marine environment closer to a point of no return, threatening a permanent loss of biodiversity. The depletion of Ghana's fish stocks is not an abstract environmental issue. It is a daily human tragedy unfolding in coastal communities. For millions of Ghanaians, fish is not a luxury, but a fundamental source of protein. It is the centerpiece of countless meals, kenki with fried fish, rich fish stews that are staples of the local diet. As the industrial trawlers empty the oceans, the price of fish in local markets has skyrocketed, placing it beyond the reach of many ordinary families. The empty nets of the artisanal fishermen directly translate to empty plates in homes across the country, exacerbating malnutrition and food insecurity for the nation's most vulnerable populations. The entire artisanal fishing sector, which supports an estimated 2.7 million people, is in peril. This includes the women who are the backbone of the post-harvest sector. Known as fish mammies, these women process, smoke, salt, and sell the fish caught by the men. Their livelihoods are directly tied to the artisanal catch. With smaller and smaller landings, their businesses are failing. They wait for hours at the beaches for canoes to return, often to find there is not enough fish to buy. This economic disenfranchisement of women has severe consequences for family well-being and community stability. With their traditional livelihoods collapsing, many young men in fishing communities see no future for themselves. This desperation can lead to social problems, rising crime rates, and a sense of hopelessness. Some are forced to undertake perilous journeys in search of employment, both within Ghana and abroad. The coastal villages, once vibrant hubs of economic activity, are hollowing out, leaving behind an aging population and a generation of youth disconnected from their heritage. The social cohesion that has defined these communities for centuries is being torn apart. The Ghanaian government's response has been a mixture of strong rhetoric and inconsistent action. The Fisheries Amendment Act of 2019 raised minimum fines to $1 million, suggesting growing political will. However, despite these pronouncements, implementation and enforcement remain weak and sporadic. Growing public frustration has led to calls for transparent, rigorous enforcement and an end to the Saiko trade. To pull Ghana's marine ecosystem back from the brink, bold and decisive actions are urgently needed. The government must end the charade of front companies through transparent investigation and immediate license revocation for foreign-owned vessels. There must be a zero-tolerance policy toward the illegal Saiko trade, requiring enhanced patrols and technology. When trawlers are caught, penalties should be severe enough to bankrupt the operation, not just serve as a minor business expense. Empowering local fishing communities is critical. Artisanal fishermen should be included in co-management of marine resources. Provide them with tools to monitor and report illegal activities, hotlines, mobile apps, turning thousands of fishermen into sentinels of the sea. Invest in alternative livelihoods and support the post-harvest sector to build resilience in coastal communities. The international community must pressure China to rein in its distant water fishing fleet and ensure corporations obey national laws. But the primary responsibility lies with Ghana. It must choose to protect its sovereign resources and the livelihoods of its people. By enforcing its laws, ending illegal practices and empowering its communities, Ghana can chart a new course away from ecological collapse, towards a future where the oceans can once again provide for generations to come. The time for talk is over, the time for action is now.